Hello and welcome to lesson 5, how to play the chromatic button accordion, and this is the B system. Today for the first time we're going to play a song or a tune that's got 4 chords in it, and we're going to change into the key of G major today. So the notes used in this tune are as follows. We have a C, which is row 3 button 2, D row 1 button 3, E row 2 button 4, G row 2 button 5, we have A, which is row 3 button 5, B, which is row 1 button 6, C row 3 button 6, and D row 1 button 7. So these are all notes found in the key of G major. It has to be said that in the key of G major, if you wanted to play the scale of G major, you'd have to play the black note or black button F sharp. As it happens in this tune, there are no Fs, therefore no F sharps, so that problem is taken out of the equation, thank goodness. So if you look at the title page, Win a Night on His Spurs, beautiful words written by Jan Struther, and the tune, well, a lot of people say it was written by Vaughan Williams, not actually written by him, but he certainly had something to do with it. It's a lovely, lovely song, it's got some great words. We're just going to play the tune of it today. And if you look at the beginning of the tune, you can see a treble clef, then that sharp sign. That sharp sign is written on the top line of the stave. If you had a note on that line, it would be an F. So it means that all Fs are sharpened in this tune, if you had any. As it happens, we don't, so thank goodness for that, as I said earlier. And then it says 3-4, so we know the 3 on top tells us we're going to count in threes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, kind of waltz time, if you like. And then, just like in the last lesson, we're starting with a minim rest, so 2 beats of silence, and then we've got 2 quavers on the 3rd beat of the bar. That's our anacrusis, that's our kind of incomplete bar with those notes at the end. So that anacrusis, that G-A there, leads us into bar 2, where we have a complete bar of notes. So after you've got that G and that A in that first bar, that anacrusis, you've got a thick line, a thin line and 2 dots, showing that you repeat from that point when you want to do subsequent verses. If you want to do that, if you just want to play it through once, that's absolutely fine, and you'll never come back to that point. So when you start the tune, you're going to have the bellows more or less closed. Like I said before, always pull them out a little bit, so you've got a little bit of margin of error. And you're pulling out, as you play these first 4 bars, you've got G then A, okay, it's first finger, second finger. Come up to the B note here, little finger, and then retrace your steps, A then G. So let's just start that again. Up and down, okay? So you've got in notes G, A, B, A, G. Fingers 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. And then you bring your index finger from this note of G over to this note of E, setting up a new position. And you kind of pivot on this note of D, which you use your thumb on. So index finger on the E, thumb on the D, index finger again on the C. And then you come back to the A note, which you've already played up here, finger 2. Okay, and then you're going to play G, A again, like you did at the beginning. And all of that is pulling the bellows out. So let's just shut the bellows. We'll use our air button to do that, just nice and patient. Okay, don't shut them all the way. So let's have a listen to our first 5 bars, 4 bars of complete notes. So after 2, 1, 2. Now I put the counting underneath so you can see how it works. You count 1, 2 for that minim rest, coming on 3 and. So it's 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 and. Okay, and now we're pushing the bellows in, and it's the same as before. There's the second stave, second bar. So you've got B, A, G, E, D, C, like you did before. And now you come back to D, and you've got 3 Gs in a row. And the third G there on the next stave is a minim, so it's held for 2 beats. And our bellows are now closed, ready to be opened again. So that's our sort of first little section. Let's play it from the beginning after 2. 1, 2. Okay, then you've got 2 Ds on quavers, on beats, well it's on beat 3, so it's 3 and. Pulling bellows out, coming up to the B. Now we're going to use the B here, so we're going to jump from the D to the B on the same row, row 1. Thumb on the D, index finger on the B. Okay, B, B, C, D, C, B. Okay, fingers there, it's thumb, thumb, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1. And then the next note is B again. Notice it's changed finger, it's now finger 4. Little finger, because you want to come down a bit, change your position. And then A with the second finger, G with the first finger. So you're back in the first position, if you like, that you were in when you started the tune. B, A, G, A. So let's close the bellows and we'll play that section. So we're going from bar 9, the end of bar 9, those 2 Ds, those 2 quavers. So we've got. And then pushing the bellows in, same as before. And you've got those 3 Gs, and then if you want to start again, play the G and the A, and away you go. So you're having to change position 2 or 3 times just to make it comfortable for your right hand, and it's definitely worth spending the time, like I said before in previous lessons, getting that right hand sorted out so almost you don't have to think about it. So let's play that right hand tune all the way through now. After 2, 1, 2. Those last 2 notes right at the end there are the same as the anacrusis at the beginning of the tune. It takes you back in and you just play as many verses as you want. When you want to finish, you just play the G at the beginning of the last bar and you don't go on to the G and the A at the end. Let's talk about the left hand now. Now this is a little bit more complex than it's been before. It takes a lot more practicing. We've got a 4-chord pattern, a very typical 4-chord pattern in the key of G major. I'm going to get in close so that you can see how it works. Now the minor chord that we want in this is A minor, and A minor is not too bad to find because, well, we know we've got G here, we know we've got D here. If we wanted to go to A major, we come up 1 from the D. That would be A bass and A major chord. We actually want A minor. Now all the minor chords are on this row, okay, second row in from the outside. And you use your index finger, so you play your A bass note with your ring finger and come over, jump over the major row, go to the minor row, there's your minor chord. So you've got your root note there, your A bass, and there's your A minor chord. Okay, so let's sum up. So you've got G bass note, G major chord, C bass note, C major chord, D bass note and D major chord, and A bass note and A minor chord. So you're going to have to practice this left hand quite a lot before you can even think about putting the 2 hands together. The first part of the tune, pulling out, we've got G major, C major, A minor and D major, and then coming back G major, C major, and then we do this. On And on bar 8 you do rather an unusual thing. Rather than doing the classic pa, you play the D bass note, D major chord together on beat 1, jump over the G major, go to the C, and do that twice, that C major, bass note and major chord together, and then you're back to your pa. And you do that at the end of that first page as well. I've put a little box there just to remind you of that fact. So G, C, A minor, D, G, C, D, C, C, G. Other way, G, G, A minor, D, G, C, D, C, C, G. Of course, when you want to end the tune, obviously play the bass note of G and the G major chord together. So here is the bass line without me calling it out. After 3, 1, 2, 3. Basically they're all nice and close together, but you will need to practice jumping from the C to the A minor, the C to the D to the C, and the G to the A minor. How to practice that a lot. You may be different to me, but I've found this left hand quite a bit harder than the right hand. It's quite fiddly. Those little stradella bass buttons are pretty close to each other, aren't they? So it does take quite a lot of arching of the fingers and a lot of practice and building up what they call muscle memory, where your hand just remembers where to go just from having done it so many times. It's probably a good idea to go to my website www.daddylonglegs.com and to print out the charts that you can see at the beginning of this book. And the reason for that, of course, is so that you don't have to keep flitting backwards and forwards from the tune you're on to the beginning of the book. It's nice to know where the notes are on the accordion, and if you've got them by your side, by the side of the book, you'll be able to refer to them quickly. One of the things you mustn't do is to panic when you're playing, and if you panic you'll start rushing, and if you rush your music won't flow. So just relax. If you get it wrong, well, so what? You can always have another go, can't you? So that's quite a bit harder than anything we've done so far. It will need a lot of practicing, particularly I think with that left hand, getting that stradella bass sorted out. But once you've practiced it and you put the two hands together, you've got a really nice tune to play. That's the end of lesson 5. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in lesson 6.